Welcome to my show. It's a guest here. Her name is Jebeh Edmond. Mrs. Jebeh, how are you
Yes,
doing?
Edmunds. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Firstly, you are the founder and CEO of Jebeh Cultural Consulting. You are also a veteran educator, and you are the podcast host of the show called Cultural Curriculum Chat. Can you please, ma, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, ma?
Yes, I am the founder CEO of Jebeh Cultural Consulting. And what our services do is we provide products and one-to-one multicultural educational training services for businesses and schools. Being a classroom teacher for over 18 years, I wanted to continue that positive impact to dispel and disrupt the myths of Africans and the diaspora, especially in the United States. And I was making that impact with my students every year, but I wanted to have this company go nationwide and globally to continue to show the world who Africans are in a positive and affirming light, to show that we are here to value ourselves as well as to bring value to others. And that business has been thriving for 4 years. And with the podcast, I've been able to interview people in multicultural education and in business and helping teachers and future employers to employ our African and African American students and colleagues.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. And I'm also personally happy and glad that you are a teacher. My mom is also a teacher, and I know how that job
Oh,
is. That job is not
yes.
even easy at all. My mommy grew to be a teacher to the essence that she even tried to build her own school to teach a lot of children that time. So it is a very, very tough job. I knew when I was young that job is not easy. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. And do
Oh,
you
you're
also
welcome. My mom was a teacher too. Yeah.
wow. That was very, very nice. Thank you so much, man. And do you also
Mhm.
have any book you've written, man?
I have not written a book to
Oh,
publish yet, but I'm in the works of writing one. So I will let you know once it comes out. It's
sure,
my
sure,
dream
sure.
to write a book. Yeah.
I'll also be expecting it. Thank you so much, Mr. Jebe. And firstly, like I would like to ask, how do you personally define multicultural education, man?
Yes. Multicultural education for me is the platform and the knowledge and foundation to know that all cultures exist and to learn from each culture and not put them all into one, box. It's we have a variety of all walks of life, and that multicultural education is to learn from all these walks in different cultural groups to have a deeper knowledge and understanding of the world around us. And so that's what I feel is the ultimate definition of learning from others and valuing each other and seeing each other differently with respect and dignity.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. And what do you think are also the most important aspects, to consider when developing a multicultural curriculum?
Yes, the aspects I want people to consider is to look at finding resources that represent all people. And the biggest thing about that in our curriculum in the United States, a lot of it is European centric, centralized, of the colonialism that came in. And what
Mhm.
multicultural education shows us is there are all kinds of cultures that were here first, and there are all cultures that are coming in after colonialism and around the world. So when I'm teaching multicultural aspects and cultural studies in my classroom, I make sure that I have the perspectives of other people that were happening in that time and in that place. So we're not just focusing on one particular cultural group, but we're learning about multicultural perspectives and their lenses of how those events happened. And that really shows our students that it wasn't just one group of people at this time or one group of people at the present time. There are plenty of other voices that need to be heard too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's definitely not easy. You definitely have
Yes.
a way you try your best to engage with the students. Can you also, discuss the effective strategy you personally use to, engage with the students from various cultural background, ma?
Yeah, we do these things called like morning meetings before we gather up and start our day. We would have greetings from a different language, and I would put the language on the board, and then we would look on the map to see where that language is spoken. We do games that are from different parts of the world. So you don't have to be a representative of that group, but to learn about that group, I think is really important. And the thing is, when we talk about multicultural education, you don't have to overthink too much. We are really in this space of finding things online at our fingertips, finding neighbors in our community to come in and share. So that's a big thing is it's a lot about sharing who we are. I would have my students bring a memento from home that represents their family or what their family likes to do. And so that was something that we got to understand our whole classroom community by learning little tidbits of each other throughout the year. It wasn't a one time in the beginning of the year when we're getting to know each other. I infused it throughout the whole classroom year. So it wasn't feeling like, okay, we checked a box, we did our cultural sharing, and now we're going to go about our day like we've always gone. It was always something that was repeated, throughout the school year. So meetings are important to understand who we are, learning languages and games and traditions of the world, and even in your backyard, and getting people, involved by bringing something, to share, I think is really important too.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. Now I know why
Mhm.
there is always this morning meeting, every time morning meeting. Thank you so much, ma. And I would
Yes,
like
yes, you're
to
welcome.
Yeah, I would like to go to the point of challenges, man. There will definitely be challenges you teachers face during this multicultural education, man. What challenges do you think you normally face when implementing multicultural education, and how do you try to overcome them, man?
Yes. Resources is really big. Teachers have a limited budget in the beginning of the school year to purchase extra curriculum materials. In our country, in the United States, we have a set budget where the state can, offer money, and the federal government to give you money to allocate for curriculum and supplies. And when it comes down to multicultural education, that's usually not the top priority of what schools and educator in the government wants to purchase a lot of. So a lot of us teachers, in the classroom are using our own money and our own funding to purchase, supplemental curriculum and multicultural materials. And so that can be really hard for teachers because we're not paid as much, to have a budget to go out and buy those resources. So that's a big challenge for our teachers. Another challenge is the pushback, and having to justify why we are wanting to push more multicultural curriculum in our classrooms. And a lot of states within the United States are banning and trying to repeal and cancel multicultural curriculum in the classroom to, again, push that that negative bias thinking of, well, we're all one human race, so why do we need to learn about each other further? So a lot of teachers are rebelling and showing and sharing as much as they can to use their own resources, their own money, and to speak up and advocate for their children to say, we need that representation for all of our students to learn from each other to be a more just and global society. Hmm.
Mm, thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. And I would like to just dive a little bit, to the educators, as the teachers. Like there will definitely be a way when someone wants to, start to teach this multicultural, kids and the students. There will definitely be probably training that's are meant to be
Yes.
done. So, what training do you personally believe is essential for educators to effectively teach in a multicultural environment, ma?
Hmm. I would definitely have those teachers go and get certified in culture responsive learning and training. I would definitely have those teachers learn from people of different cultures. There's lots of trainings and professional development workshops out there and conferences that teachers can attend to learn more of how to effectively teach multicultural education. I think that is a really big way to utilize the materials that have been researched and vetted to make sure it is not perpetuating stereotypes and harm. And also, it's a way for teachers to meet other teachers who are also passionate about bringing multicultural education into their classrooms as well.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. And
Yeah.
parents will also definitely play a role. These parents, these children parents. So how do you, personally encourage parental involvement in multicultural education efforts, ma?
Yes, be involved in your child's schools first and foremost. If there are parent evenings and cultural festivals at your school, definitely participate. There's ways that parents can, even if they could, if there's a book that they know would really help their child in their classroom, purchase a book and gift it to the teacher so the teacher can use that book for years to come. Teachers love sharing books of all cultures. And so if you find it at the store and you thought of that teacher, that is a wonderful gift that you can help, share and be involved. Always donate your time if you could to, share a little bit about yourself. I remember my dad, we're originally from Liberia. And when my dad came and visited my classroom in the sixth grade, he made me wear my hair tie to class. And I was the only African girl in my whole class. And
Mm.
he made me stand up in front of my class and my peers and say, I am proud of who I am and I know who I am. And that really resonated with me to create my company, over 30 years later. So being involved in your child's education will help that multicultural education to thrive.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. You really face a lot that time. Only you. It's going to be really tough.
Oh,
Thank you so much,
thank
man.
you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like I would like to, go to the points of social and environmental development for students, man. How do you think you have seen multicultural education possibly positively impact students' social and environmental development, man?
Yes, the students are more confident.
Mm.
If you are having representation of books, different media, videos, music, kids sit a little taller. They feel confident in themselves. They feel themselves represented in a positive light. And again, I worked with students that were predominantly European, white, in my schools. And even when I would be playing African music, they would be dancing more than I would. They loved it. They felt that genuine human connection. So a lot of, social and environmental feelings of that. The students are calmer. I had very little classroom issues. Students were respectful, and students really got to be engaged in a way that they never knew before. And so for me, it gave me hope that the more we interact in this way, the more we show that difference is wonderful and valued, I feel it all will just trickle into, how students see themselves and how they view each other.
Mm. Thank you so much. And I'm very, very glad the students are really cooperating because it's another story if they are not cooperating. It's going to make the work even more tougher. It's not easy. Thank you so
Yes.
much, man. And
Yes, you're
lastly,
welcome.
what do you think, what role do you think multicultural education play in addressing and reducing bias and also stereotype, man?
Yeah, there's a saying, when we know better, we do better by Maya Angelou. And multicultural educations help us learn more than when we learn something, we do something better. We definitely eliminate that bias of what our perceptions are of certain groups of people. When I told you, when I taught in a predominantly white space, so many of my students would see me and say, well, yes, it is possible. She is teaching. She is not a stereotype. Wow, it is possible. She is an African woman, and she is not a stereotype of what I heard in my home growing up. And so it helps dismantle those biases and also helps them relearn what they thought before once they encounter multicultural education. I think it opens up those courageous conversations to talk about it. I remember talking to my students when we did historical lessons where we said, well, that was the past and we learned from it. So now bringing it now to the present and the future, what can we do so that doesn't repeat itself again? And a lot of multicultural education gives us evidence of what happened in the past, what we can do now to prevent future harm. And I think that is a big piece to eliminate biases. The more we learn and understand, the lesser that bias will come into play.
Mm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. And I would like to, if you could foster, advice to the new teachers who are also committed to foster multicultural understanding and inclusion, ma. What advice can you give to the new teachers, ma?
Yes, new teachers are lifelong learners like myself. Never
Mm,
stop learning. There's lots of podcasts like yours that talks about, cultural heritage.
mm,
Listening to that, listening to the perspectives of others that's not yours will really foster that understanding when you bring it to your classroom every day. There's a lot of free resources out there that will
mm,
help tear down that barrier of extra funding and resources to pay for. So to look out for those free vetted resources that were created by classroom teachers, licensed professional teachers would be my best advice. There's a lot of stuff out there that you're not sure if it's compliant with the standards that you have to teach. So to get the right curriculum that can be free as well from licensed classroom teachers is really important, so it is compliant and it fits with the standards and objectives that you have to teach.
mm. Thank you so much, ma. And lastly, I know you faced a lot, in the past, stuff like that, but there's a question I normally ask, ma. From the ancestors, from the forefathers. If there is anything probably you would like to, bring back that you find is missing in our time today, what do you think that thing will be, ma?
Stories. We need more storytellers, I think, is really big. I think we need to sit, listen to our elders, and value what they hold. I think that is really important because that will help our younger generations to sit and actively listen and heed the advice of the past. I think a lot of that is missing. I remember sitting and listening to my grandparents and my parents and my aunts and uncles, the generations above me, and I would ask questions and listen. And now I have absorbed those stories and I'm bringing it into my own children, my two teenage sons. And that's something I feel is missing right now. We need more of those stories to be heard.
All right, more stories. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jebe. I want to personally thank you for your time. Thank you for every single
Welcome.
information you brought to my show. Thank you so much, ma.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a blessed day.
All right, ma. Bye bye.
Bye bye.